One of his most famous propagandistic works is going to be The Death of Marat. During the revolution, David threw his lot in with the radical militant side. And by the way, there's lots of radical militant sides. It's the French Revolution. It's a big muddy mess. But what you need to know is he's on that radical militant side. And he became the de facto minister of propaganda. Makes a lot of sense. After all, visual arts act as propaganda in a more efficient way than any words could. When you look at an painting like this, you get the message rapidly. Seconds. You don't have to sit there and read. You don't have to worry about whether the audience is literate. You just have to worry about whether the imagery is clear. Now, David believed heavily in the importance of art in disseminating a message, and we've seen that in the past, from Roman emperors to Manifest Destiny in the United States to Michelangelo's David, all of which acted as propaganda in various ways. Now let's get back to the painting. Marat was a writer and friend of David, killed in 1793. Here, Marat is depicted just after his assassination by a rival faction. He's in a medicinal bath due to a skin condition. The knife, letter, wound, and blood are set intentionally forward to invoke an emotional response from the viewer. You should look at this as something grotesque, something horrific that has happened. From David's perspective, it is. Marat was his friend. This is someone that he knew, and he's trying to create a martyr of Marat. The figure of Marat is based on Christ in Michelangelo's Pietà in Rome. And we see a lot of interesting parallels there, the most important being the peacefulness of Jesus following his death. We don't get a sense of physical struggle so much as the psychological suffering that he must have gone through leading to his death. The reference to Christ's death make Marat a martyr to a new civic religion. So when you look at it, this painting is going to be informed by the Enlightenment, by natural art, by propaganda, and by the Baroque. In terms of the Enlightenment, we're seeing an educated man and his death. We're seeing something purely secular. In terms of natural art, we get a sense of man in an unnatural state, as if the Industrial Revolution and the French Revolution somehow corrupted Marat in a way that would lead to his death, that led to him being this militant leader and ultimately to becoming a martyr. And from the Baroque, we get the use of heavy chiaroscuro and tenebrism, as well as that ambiguous background, dramatic lighting, all of the things that we're used to under those circumstances. Now, to add to it, David, making sure that we don't confuse Marat with some other dead guy in a bathtub, puts his name front and center right here. We see his pen, the tool of Marat, as an intellectual. We see a last letter of Marat, again with his name boldly written in the middle. All of this is to make the symbolism very, very clear. If you're working in visual propaganda, everything has to be legible immediately. There's almost a 5-second rule. If you look at it and you understand it in 5 seconds, then it is successful. As a modern version, think of some of Banksy's work, where you get the basic idea immediately, and then there are other elements to it that frequently are kind of slow burn. You're going to work into it. It's exactly what David is doing here with The Death of Marat.